Oh, Deke Entertainment. What am I gonna do with you? There are a few cartoon studios out there like Filmation and Hanna-Barbera that have managed to make a name for themselves and carve a spot in TV animation history. If not necessarily for the objective quality of their writing and animation, then certainly for sheer charm and unique style in terms of character and background designs. And then there's Deke. Now don't get me wrong, Deke certainly has produced its fair share of well-remembered and beloved classics like Mask, Where on Earth is Carmen Sandiego, and Dennis the Menace, and I wouldn't exactly rate it lower than the other studios I've mentioned per se. But for every Sonic SatAM, there's a Captain N the Game Master. For every real Ghostbusters, there's a Wacky World of Tex Avery. And for every Inspector Gadget, there's like 5 Wish Kids. What the hell is Wish Kid, you ask? Yeah, my point exactly. Deke isn't necessarily the worst cartoon production company out there, far from it really. But at least in my opinion, it's a bit of a bland one that never really quite found its own voice or signature look. And I mean, hey, if you don't have a voice of your own, you can always just mimic what everyone else is doing. Almost like you're a 30-something-year-old YouTuber who got inspired by the late 2000s craze of internet reviewers and never stopped making similar content, even though he never found any actual success in terms of numbers. I've already talked about some of Deke's other productions like Sonic Underground, Trolls and Street Sharks, all of which were copying other shows, but that is far from the only time they took a cue from someone else. Let's cut to late 1994 for a second. Disney has just released their hit show Gargoyles, a surprisingly dark, gothic, story-driven cartoon where a human works together with time-displaced gargoyles to battle various supernatural and mundane threats. A show that was in itself an attempt to compete with the success of Batman the Animated Series from 1992. And Deke wants in. We then skip to 1997 and here comes Mummies Alive, a show where a human works together with time-displaced mummies to battle various supernatural and mundane threats. It was even written by Eric and Julia Lewald, who did write Gargoyles. That is to say, they wrote the often mocked Season 3 that the creator of Gargoyles doesn't even consider canon. Whoops. Throw in some Power Rangers style armor transformations to cover all the kids show tropes and off to the races we go. I never actually watched Mummies Alive as a kid, to be perfectly honest. I'm not even sure it was on any Danish channels that I had on my TV. But I remember catching glimpses on it on the German TV channels that my grandfather had and thinking it looked incredibly cool. So, once again, it's time to watch the first 3 episodes and see if I missed out on some top tier awesomeness, or dodged a bullet. Well, first things first, we gotta check out the theme song. Oh my god! This thing has no business going as hard as it does.
A little boy named Presley found a secret out this year, that he was once a pharaoh when Egyptians ruled the world.
Yeah, okay, the actual rap verse that recaps the premise reeks of 90s, and the dude's voice is so garbled I can barely understand what the hell he's saying. But that chorus though! Add some mystic chanting and some almost theremin-esque high-pitched whistles, and we have ourselves an absolute banger here. Okay, now I'm pumped. Now, in terms of the visuals, however, this intro cracks me up. You know how 80s and 90s cartoon openings were almost always way better animated than the actual show? Yeah, that's the case here too. Except, almost as if they didn't finish it on time, they keep cutting to clips from various episodes, resulting in the animation quality suddenly wiping out harder than a talentless skater attempting a rail grind. This shit is giving me whiplash, and it is hilarious. But with the opening out of the way, let's check out the show itself. The first episode is simply titled Rah 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 Rah, and to sum up the premise, this show centers on Presley, a young boy in San Francisco whose mom works for the local museum, which has recently set up a large exhibit dedicated to the tomb of the Egyptian Prince Ramses XII. It doesn't take long for things to get creepy though, as he starts to hear voices within the exhibit, strange things watch him from the shadows, and the various statues begin to follow him. Trying to hide in an empty sarcophagus, Presley is soon caught by a creepy-looking wizard calling himself Scarab. But before he can explain why he's chasing this kid, 4 mummy warriors burst out of their sarcophagi to defend Presley with their magic armor powers. Oh, you can't even pretend that that wasn't awesome. Way to turn a failure into a success. Despite Scarab also transforming into an armored form, he eventually runs off instead of fighting, and Presley argues that everyone better get out of there fast before anyone else arrives.
The sacred cat will go first.
Boy, Jakal is really just needlessly punishing that pussy. Wait. Presley brings the mummies back home, where they reveal to him that he is actually the reincarnation of Prince Rapses, who they served as guardians in their lifetime, and who Scarab had sinister plans for when he was the Pharaoh's advisor. Anyway, it's time for formal introductions. There's Jakal, Wrath, Armon. Get it? Because he has one arm!
And he is Nefer.
You mean she?
You're just a boy. How would you know?
Actually, the prince is right. I am Nefertina. I only pretended to be a man, since women are not allowed to drive the chariots of the Pharaoh.
No wonder he never went swimming in the Nile with us.
Oh, yeah, I can totally imagine these three not realizing she's a woman after waking up. I mean, it's not like she's got massive badonkers on display wrapped only in form-fitting bandages or anything. No, it's all the hair. Also, am I completely crazy, or do some of these mummies' voices sound familiar?
It's it's far too complicated to explain right now.
Oh my god, Wrath is voiced by Scott McNeil.
We'll watch your house, follow you to school, protect you.
And that's Cree Summer voicing Nefertina. Well, damn, this show just got better. Oh, so I guess this is where Cree Summer got her start voicing whip-wielding Catwomen.
So let me get this straight. You're supposed to guard the Pharaoh's son, even though you're like mummies. So if I'm in trouble, I mean, when Rapses is in trouble, you call on Ra and whoever, and they give you the power to kick butt, right?
But why in the name of Ra would anyone want to kick Tut?
Anyway, turns out Scarab has actually been living as a wealthy businessman named Mr. Stone for quite a while before the mummies were awakened, and now he's trying to get the exhibit sent back to Egypt. Which is a little bit of a problem, because the mummies need to rest in their sarcophagi in order to recharge their magic powers and stay alive. So, in order to catch up with the truck that's about to take the sarcophagi to the airport, the gang decides to, borrow a car.
Such swift chariots! Where are the horses?
Sorry, I mean a horseless chariot, which Ralph activates with magic when they can't find a key. And which Nefertina can actually freaking drive for some reason.
I'll take the reins of the chariot. If the tiny people in the spirit box can do it, so can I.
Oh, thank God! It's all good, guys. She watched someone on TV do it for like 5 minutes. If they can do it, so can Nefertina. There is no way this can go wrong. The gang eventually manages to get aboard the truck and sneak inside, by which I mean they tear a hole in the roof which nobody notices, in order to recharge in their sarcophagi. And they do so just moments before Scarab suddenly shows up to stop the truck and kidnap Presley again. Thank God all the mummies needed was a 5-minute power nap, because they almost immediately break out to save the kid.
Let's kick Tut!
Let's get Tut!
Oh no, don't tell me that's gonna be their catchphrase.
Let's get Tut! Let's kick Tut!
Let's kick Tut!
Also, everyone can shoot lasers, apparently. Yeah, why not? It's the 90s. Scarab menacingly advances on Presley on the roof of the truck, ready to strike, and then gets knocked out by the bridge. Even though he has wings, and can fly, and has been living in the human world for a while and should have known this was a thing. And should have been able to see it coming from miles away. So, why are we supposed to be afraid of this guy again? Well, maybe episode 2, Sleepwalk Like an Egyptian, can answer that. With the exhibit no longer being moved because of reasons, I guess, the mummies are now using it as their hideout. They've also given Presley a magic amulet that hides him from Scarab's sight. And hold the fuck on! Is Wrath building a mummy-mobile? And it has a launching ramp that shoots it out of the Sphinx's mouth? I thought they were supposed to be hiding!
How toyetic can you get?
I swear, these guys are less inconspicuous than the goddamn samurai pizza cats, and they launch themselves out of a gun every episode! Well, so much for secrecy! Presley is, of course, also trying to get the gang used to modern culture by bringing them burgers, but Armon eats them all. Because he's the big guy. So he's always hungry.
You know, they'd taste better if you took the wrappings off before eating them.
Really?
Oh god, no, I do not need to see Armon naked. Quick, somebody make plot happen! Actually, there's a lot of plot going on in this episode. While the museum is in danger of being torn down, an angry Scarab summons a scorpion from his own nightmares, intent on sicking it on Presley since he can't attack directly himself thanks to the amulet.
This is so creepy.
Oh, yeah, and he has a talking snake staff named Heka. Did I forget to mention that? Anyway, Presley manages to organize a big protest in order to keep the museum standing, but is eventually stung by the scorpion. This then puts him in a dream state where he relives his life as Prince Rapses in ancient Egypt while sleepwalking in reality. Which also means we get to see what the mummies were like when they were alive.
You should be learning to write. The lessons I teach you will endure forever. Like the pyramids.
They sure seem to.
Of course, Presley's sleepwalking also results in various wacky hijinks all over his school. Like when Dreamwrath is teaching him spells.
May this wooden staff be like the sacred serpent that coils around the golden disc of Ra. May this...
You have something you wish to share with us, Mr. Conovan?
Oh shit, I didn't realize Presley was a level 4 cleric.
Sticks to snakes.
Today you learn how to fight unarmed. Without weapons.
Oh my god, we get it! He has one arm!
Hey, punk! What's that supposed to be, jerkhead? Karate?
It's called Egyptsu.
Okay, to be fair, these flashbacks do actually provide a bit of interesting backstory for the mummies, such as showing us that Jakal had a wife and son back in Egypt. And once the episode is done with the sleepwalking shenanigans, it actually gets rather serious. We also get to see that Rapses' father was often absent, leaving him in the care of his guardians, and that Scarab planned to kill him so he could be next in line to become pharaoh. Which he actually succeeded in doing by tricking Rapses into thinking his father had returned and luring him out into the desert. And in real life, that translates to Presley just wandering into an abandoned building in a seedy part of town where Scarab is waiting for him.
This is so creepy.
Yeah, I gotta agree with Heka on this one. Hypnotizing a child to meet you in an abandoned building is definitely a couple steps up the creep ladder. Don't worry though, this doesn't stay creepy for very long. The mummies soon notice that Presley is missing, and by pretending to be protesters dressed up as mummies, they make it through the city and eventually track Presley down before Scarab can do anything. I especially love how Jakal momentarily completely incapacitates Scarab, the powerful ancient Egyptian undead sorcerer, with a completely normal-ass net. Well, until he transforms, that is.
Crush them. Push them over the edge.
One of them can fly, dipshit! Well, Presley soon wakes up, and by kicking what has to be the flimsiest water tower support beam in existence, he manages to put an end to the fight. And coincidentally, the decision to close the museum is also overturned. It's a happy ending for everyone, right? Well, yes, right until Presley asks Jakal to confirm a few things he saw in his dreams.
I mean, is that really what happened to me back then?
Yes, Presley, I'm afraid it was.
Did you find me in time?
We found you, but Scarab's forces were too strong. We couldn't save you or ourselves. Pharaoh had ordered us to protect you, and we failed.
What happened to your family?
I don't know.
It was Rapses' fault. My fault. Jakal, I don't know how, but someday I'll make it up to you. I promise.
What the fuck is happening? Is this dumb superhero cartoon about mummies making me feel things? No, that can't be. Move on to the next episode. This is freaking me out. In the third episode, titled Pack to the Future, Presley is headed out of town for the weekend to go camping with his mom and forbids the mummies from following. So they just send the cat instead, giving it an amulet that lets them see what it sees. And here I thought Spy Pussy was a James Bond thing. I'm sorry, that was the last one. Of course, Scarab is once again up to no good, and we see him riding a trash boat while dressed in full Egyptian sorcerer gear. Okay? Anyway, he then uses a spell to summon these 4 beings that he calls the Trackers of Souls in order to chase down Presley. And apparently he also somehow summons freaking Amut by mistake. Amut. Scarab summoned Amut. By mistake! Alright, hold up a goddamn second. Now look, I'm not gonna claim to be some Egyptian mythology expert because I'm not, but I read enough about it as a kid to tell you that summoning Ammit is a pretty big goddamn deal. This is the creature that ate the hearts of the wicked after death if they were deemed unworthy of entering the afterlife by Anubis. It has titles like the Eater of Hearts and the Devourer of the Dead. And here, it acts like a freaking lapdog.
The Devourer of Souls followed me home one day, and now I can't get rid of him.
I just don't get it. Like, the writers clearly did their research and dug up a mythological creature that most kids aren't gonna be familiar with unless they already have a passing interest in Egyptian mythology and know what the damn thing is supposed to be. And then they still adapt it into a crocodile-headed puppy? Why would you do that? They even straight up call it the Devourer of Souls, so clearly they know how big a deal this thing is, and yet it still acts like a dog. What the hell is wrong with you? Scarab should consider himself really freaking lucky that this thing didn't eat him on the spot. And by the way, I can't even tell if this guy's supposed to be just a random jackal or if he's supposed to be Anubis. You know, Anubis, the god of the dead. Also, I just want to address that Scarab keeps in touch with his magically summoned supernatural assassins by giving them a cell phone. I just can't with this shit, man. Anyway, it doesn't take long for the trackers to find Presley, or for the mummies to head off in their mummy-mobile to save him. But that still means that Presley and the cat have to evade their pursuers for a good while, which results in a good old-fashioned inevitable swim towards a waterfall. But Presley, of course, has a plan.
Not bad for a 3,000-year-old furball.
God damn, that is one sturdy puss. Did you just throw yarn at me? Yada yada yada, Scarab arrives and so does the mummies. Everyone fights, the cat gets to fight Ammit because cats and dogs hate each other and that's very very funny and it's all very typical. Right until the fight leads to Presley falling off a cliff, only barely getting rescued by Jakar.
Never venture so far again. You must stay by my side so I can watch over you like a father watches a son.
I've already got a father, but I guess it wouldn't hurt to have a mummy for a daddy too.
Well, there's no way I can compete with a joke that stupid, so I'm just gonna end it and drink poison. Like, I don't know what you expected, man. I can't possibly follow up on that. It's too stupid even for me, so, yeah. Nice knowing you, folks. Oh, and speaking of mummies, the punchline to the episode is that Presley's mom somehow managed to sleep through the entire magic mummy laser fight going on right outside her tent. Man, I wish I could sleep like that. I envy this woman. Well, that's Mummies Alive, and based on these 3 episodes alone, I gotta say, that wasn't anywhere near as bad as I thought it was gonna be. Now, to be clear, this is definitely still a somewhat subpar Gargoyles clone, and it isn't really a contender to the show it's copying, no question about it. Like many other 90s cartoons of its kind, it's pretty freaking corny with the lame catchphrases and blatant shilling of toys they haven't even made yet, and the animation is downright choppy outside of action scenes in places. It's not a fantastic show by any means. I went into this video expecting to be tearing apart some no-effort shit show, but no, that's just not what this cartoon is. I get a real sense of genuine effort from this show. The character designs are all cool and striking, the action scenes are actually pretty exciting most of the time, and if episode 2 is anything to go by, the show actually has a bit of heart to it as well, being willing to delve into the mummy's tragic backstory. Presley is also nowhere near as annoying as many other kid protagonists that infested so many shows back in the day, and he's usually just a fairly sensible, nice kid. And making him be the actual MacGuffin that the villain wants also serves as a good motivation for Scarab to keep attacking the mummies, more so than "I hate that hedgehog" or "Tonight I dine on turtle soup" ever did. It honestly all comes together pretty well. It just never quite reaches the heights of the stuff it's very clearly inspired by. Kinda like me. So, no, Mummies Alive is not exactly anything special, that's totally true, but there is good exciting fun to be had here if you're a kid who's into Egyptian themes, or you just like this particular style of 90s cartoons. And I like to think that that's a bit of an accomplishment in and of itself. So, with that said, thank you so much for watching. It burns! What's happening? Oh. Right. Hey everybody, and thanks for watching this video on Mummies Alive. If you liked it, make sure to hit the like button and post a comment about some other forgotten 90s cartoons that you personally really enjoyed. It's always fun to read about. Special thanks go to Silvermoon Ravenwolf, Andreas Wilsam, Warren Miller, Eli Cat, Spatial Paladin, and all my other patrons as always. You guys have no idea how much I appreciate it. If you want to support me too, you can find my Patreon, Ko-fi, and TeePublic pages in the description below, along with a link to my Discord server, which you're more than welcome to join. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new to the channel, and be on the lookout for more silly videos about wacky, obscure media in the future. See you then, everybody, and bye-bye.